missing right now. If Washington had a franchise quarterback, that's a whole new story because they can play defense and Coach Ron Rivera has changed the culture. Could you imagine Dak going to Washington? This is, that's the rivalry, boy. I mean, look, you can also say Philadelphia, except it's a mess in Philly right now. I would stay away from that if I were Dak. The Giants are trending in the right direction, but they have an ascending young quarterback they spent a high draft pick on. And by the way, it looked like that was the right choice instead of Haskins, who Washington wound up with. I love the way Alex Smith has played recently. But the fact of the matter is, come on, the guy thought he was going to lose his leg not long ago, and he is much, much closer to the end than the beginning. If Dak went to Washington, Washington is now a powerhouse franchise, and it would stick it to Jerry Jones in Dallas if that's the point.
First of all, I don't know if we have any evidence that the culture has changed when you're in the NFC least, which is something we've lamented for quite some time. And it happens to be the most pathetic division in the history of the National Football League. Then you're basically applauding them for being the tallest dude in the little man's contest. That's what the hell the Washington football team is, evidenced by the fact that they don't even have a name. I mean, just let's put that in its proper perspective. They don't even have a name. They're the Washington football team. Not only do they not have a name, they haven't even had the decency to tell us whether they're from Washington, D.C. or the Pacific Northwest. I mean, we don't even know. If you're not watching football and you don't pay any attention to the NFL, and you say the Washington football team, well, who Washington? Are we talking about the Huskies? I mean, we don't know. It's just pathetic. So I'm not going to sit up there and put Dak Prescott in that situation and call it ideal. Listen, they've got a new dude running business, and they've got a wonderful woman, running media relations. That's how the Washington Redskins made news before they beat the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. Okay, so let's pump the brakes on the Washington football team for the moment in time. Even though I don't disagree with Marcus Spears, I will tell you this. How about the Chicago Bears? I mean, are we really going to sit here and ignore what that defense can do? I understand they haven't looked lights out great this year, but when your offense is inept and you're demoralized because they're inept, it might affect how you play defense sometimes. But they're still very respectable. You look at their personnel with Quinn and Khalil Mack and the rest of the Trevathan and then the rest of the crew. They got some players on the defensive side of the ball. They just need a reason to believe that they're going to have a chance to win football games because they've got a quarterback. Nick Foles ain't the answer. Mitchell Trubisky damn sure ain't the answer. He'll never recover from the Bears moving up to pass on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes just to grab him. So he's done, okay? If you get a quarterback in Chi-Town, that would be a beautiful thing. Now, do I think Dak Prescott's going anywhere? Of course I don't. But if you talk about someplace he should want to go where he'd be appreciated, I think that Chicago would be a very, very good place where, I mean, they throw a parade for grabbing somebody like him. As you pointed out on several occasions, Max, they haven't really had an all-world quarterback since Jim McMahon, and he wasn't all-world. It was really the sweetness, Walter Payton.
Day one, Dak would be the best quarterback in Chicago Bears history in my lifetime. Day one, he'd be the best quarterback they've ever had in my lifetime.
Stephen A., you went on that whole soliloquy because the Washington football team beat your Steelers. Don't be salty at the Washington football team. Okay, you getting all mad about that. Don't get salty about them. You rest there trying to shame their name and all that because they beat up on your squad. I peep game. I see what's going on.
COVID.
But listen,
that's what happened. COVID beat the Steelers, not the Washington football team. COVID beat them.
Oh, okay. I got you. But listen, if I had to pick a team, I'm going with Marcus Spears. I'm going with the 49ers. Could you imagine Dak with Kyle Shanahan as his play caller? Oh, my God. The way that Kyle Shanahan knows how to design a run game and knows how to utilize a quarterback that can throw on the run. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best, maybe the best offensive play caller in the National Football League right now.
May I ask you a question?
What now?
What about porn
What now?
star
Why
Jimmy?
you cutting me off?
What about porn star Jimmy? I mean, how we just going to ignore porn star Jimmy? I mean, what headlines? I mean, we don't have the porn star Jimmy headlines. What's up? I'm just wondering.
Listen, Jimmy G can't stay on the field. He can't stay on the field, Stephen. They like what good are you when you can't stay on the field? When he's in there, when he's playing, they actually win. But if you're not available, then you're no good to the team. And we know one thing about Dak Prescott.
You know what's going to happen, Damien.
Outside of this year, he's always been available. Dak Prescott has always been available.
You know what's going to happen if Dak went to the Niners, which is not a bad idea. I think those are Washington, Chicago, and the Niners are all good locations. You know what's going to happen. Belichick grabs Garoppolo and wins the Super Bowl like he wanted to with Jimmy G, who he wanted to keep. You know that's going to happen.
Well, Jimmy G couldn't stay healthy with him either.
Somehow when Belichick gets his hands on him, he'll stay. Look, he was in the Super Bowl. How long ago? Not even a year.
It's just a personal preference. I want Jimmy, within striking distance of Melrose, and that area there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I want Jimmy, and I want porn star Jimmy. He ain't gonna be that in Foxborough. He got a chance of being that in Cali. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Damien, I have a question for you. We want to talk about the issue at the core, really, of this conversation. Do you think that Dak should want out of Dallas?
Yeah, listen, I think the Dallas Cowboys should blow it up, to be honest with you. I think the Dallas Cowboys are no closer to getting to a Super Bowl. Even at the beginning of this year, they're no closer to getting to the Super Bowl than they were at any time. We talk about Jason Garrett. I mean, we've lamented about Jason Garrett for years and years. Mike McCarthy's come in and they've looked 10 times worse, as a franchise. So they got offensive line is injured. The defense is awful. We don't know if it's the personnel or the coaching for the Dallas Cowboys. And you're going to possibly franchise Dak Prescott and not be able to help your team build around him? Nah.
Hey, Max.
If I'm Dak, I hold all the cards here. I hold all the cards.
I will confess this, something I never said before. The team did look better with Jason Garrett than they do under Mike McCarthy, and I think it's for one flagrant reason. We can't knock Jason Garrett's staff. Marinelli and Rashard were much, much better as defensive coordinators than Mike Nolan. Yeah. Clearly.
But look, I mean, also, McCarthy lost his job. He had Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and he couldn't adapt to the league as the league changed. Great coaches do. McCarthy at one point was a good coach. I don't care how bad you are as a coach. Like even Mike Ditka, whatever you want to say about him, because he had Buddy Ryan and all that. If you win a Super Bowl, you were doing something right. I don't care how talented your team was. You were doing something right. And McCarthy did something right once upon a time. But the great coaches adapt to the times. Belichick changed. Tomlin changed. Reed changed. The way they did things, and so they're still great, right? McCarthy wasn't, and so he's not. He's not. When the Cowboys hired him, I thought it was a bad hire. Okay, I gave him credit when they beat the Vikings. They made it close with the Steelers, but now they're trending in the wrong direction again. Should Dak want out of Dallas? The answer is no. It's the glamour spot in American sports. Quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And it's one thing if Dallas was perennially losers, but they're not, guys. They're pretty good usually. Damien, there was a reason you picked them to win the Super Bowl or to get to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, because usually going into the season, you look at their roster and you go, it's pretty good, if not very good. Give credit to Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. They didn't earn their positions as GM. Jerry bought the team, and they get to play with a toy, basically. And they get to play GM. For guys who play GM, they're damn good. How are you better than average? They've averaged 8.5 wins now over, 10 years? The last 10 years of GMing the team? That's pretty good. It's better than most, by definition. It's better than average. So you have a better than average front office. You usually have a lot of talent on offense. And if you ever win a Super Bowl there, you're the biggest thing in the world. And guys, finally, Jerry offered him the $100 million plus guaranteed. He offered him a Wentz-Goff contract. Why did he wait so long? He waited so long because your window is in that quarterback rookie deal, especially if he's only making $2 million because he's a fourth-round pick. You can spend money on other players like DeMarcus Lawrence, like Ezekiel Elliott, which he did. It's not like all the owners, they're not lining their pockets if they don't pay the quarterback. There's a salary cap. They all spend the same. It's not like Jerry Jones was saving money, not paying Dak. he was saving money paying other players to put a better team around Dak, right? I mean, so even there, he did offer Dak the contract. Dak didn't have to be franchised. Dak's agent made a bad choice. He thought, shorter contract, we can re-up with a new CBA, more money, and then Dak got hurt. Them's the breaks. That's why it's a risk. No, I don't think Dak should want to leave Dallas.
Well, listen, Max, here's what I'm going to say. I think you openly admit that Mike McCarthy is not the answer at the core, as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I look at within the division, Joe Judge and Ron Rivera. There are two coaches that, to me, are doing a much better job than Mike McCarthy right now. You got the salary cap that's going to go down this offseason. Dak Prescott is in a position where he has the Dallas Cowboys got him by the horns. If they franchise him, guess what? He's going to be a free agent the year after that. Where is that going to lead the Dallas Cowboys? They won't be able to build around him. The offensive line is deteriorating. Zeke is not playing up